Hey guys, welcome back to DeAnn Creates, your online hangout for Cricut crafts, celebration crafts, and whatever crafts I'm inspired to make. What are we creating today? A DIY backdrop, so let's get into it. First, you're going to need to purchase 2 installation boards that are 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 1 inch thick. Now I wanted my tallest backdrop panel to be 7 feet tall, so I'm going to mark 12 inches from the top on both sides and draw a line straight across. Now I'm going to make marks on both sides, 12 inches below that line. And so if you're doing the math, these marks should be 6 feet from the bottom of the panel. Okay. The marks at 6 feet show you where the curve that we're making is going to start. And the 7-foot line represents the top of the curve. Now I drew my arch freehand, but if you have something to help you draw a perfect curve, then you should use that. Now cut the arch with your box cutter and remove the excess. You can check out the cake topper or the sash that I made for this same party right after this video. Flip the second installation board over to the back. Use a ruler or a measuring tape to figure out where the halfway point is going across the board. You'll want to mark the halfway point at the top and the bottom. Then you're going to use a straight edge to draw a line between the 2 points. The line is going to go directly down the middle of the back of the board. Lay the first board evenly on top of the second board and trace the arch. Now measure 1 foot from the bottom of both sides and draw a line across that connects the 2 points. On the left half of the board, draw another line that starts 12 inches above the last line and stops at the line that's drawn down the center. Use your box cutter to cut out the arch. Cut along the line on the right side of your board that's 1 foot from the bottom. Then you'll cut from where you started in the center down to the bottom of the board. Now pull off the unwanted piece. Start from the center, 2 feet from the bottom, cutting down and then cutting to the left to remove that piece. Now take your box cutter to trace the line that's going down the center of your board from top to bottom, and you should probably use a straight edge to help you cut this perfectly so yours won't be a little jagged like my line was. If this video was helpful to you, smash the like button and hit that subscribe button to keep getting more easy tutorials just like this one. Separate the two panels. Use your box cutter to smooth out any rough edges. And here's what we have so far. Okay, I purchased 4 prime finger joint boards, and each of their dimensions was 8 feet tall by 3 inches wide, and they were an inch thick. I knew that I wanted to cut 2 of these boards in half, so I drew a line at 4 feet to mark where I wanted to cut it. The other 2 boards were going to support the 7-foot tall panel, so I placed it against the board to figure out how much I wanted to cut off. And for the record, I cut off about 2.5 feet, leaving the boards to be 5.5 feet tall. My husband cut all of these boards on the lines that I drew using his circular saw. I peeled off the film that was on the back of my panel. Then, using the Gorilla wood glue, I glued the 2 5.5 foot tall wooden boards to the back of my 7-foot panel on the left and right sides. I glued each one at least 3 inches away from the edge. Now you'll want to make sure that your boards are straight because you're going to drill brackets to the bottom of these wood boards to make them stand up. Next, I used the heaviest books that I could find to lay on top of the wood boards while the glue was drying to add a little pressure so the wood could be secured. I left the books on for a few hours. I repeated the same process on my 6-foot and 5-foot panels, and I used the 4-foot tall pieces of wood for each of those. Alright, painting the backdrop was trial and error. I tried spray paint, but that didn't work. The spray paint started eating up the foam. Then I tried acrylic paint, but it was too thick and it took way too long. Finally, I used house paint and I had a winner. I painted the smaller panels white and left the taller panel as is. You could probably use craft paint, however, I didn't try craft paint because I didn't have the right color. Let the paint dry for a few hours. Use flathead wood screws to drill the shelf brackets to the bottom of the wood boards. Make sure to glue them in straight and even with the bottom of the backdrop so that they can stand up correctly. And you're going to need 18 screws for all of the boards. Now, because the party was outside and on a very windy day, I had to use all kind of random items to keep the backdrop from falling over because it didn't weigh much. So I used cases of water, I used weights, I used a weighted blanket, and I even used plant food, garden food, I don't know what that was. After I attached the balloon garland to the backdrop and placed the balloon column I made in front, here is the final result. There you have it, an expensive looking backdrop for only a fraction of the cost. So until next time, I hope that you continue to add a little creativity to the world and keep coming back because you never know what I'll be creating next. Bye guys.